As a child, I grew attached to the studies of ancient Egyptian civilizations. At the Science Museum was a mummy encased in glass, an exhibit I frequented in my youth. In adulthood, I seeked out literature, jewelry, documentaries, music, tattoos, museums, and anything I could get my hands on finding related to ancient Egyptian history and its deities. From the pyramids to the ancient arts of magic, ritual, that still resonates to this day, of a golden sunset. Hello, I'm your host, Ryan McKern. Tonight on the Wicked Webs We Weave podcast, we venture to the Giza Pyramids to explore the history and paranormal folklore within the sand and walls. Warm yourself by the tomb of the holy. And thank you again for joining me in the Wicked Webs We Weave. An extra special thanks to Silent Scripter for writing this article, available on vocal.media, The Ghostly Mystery of Pyramids of Giza. For millennia, the world has been enthralled with the majestic pyramids of Giza, perched stoically atop the expansive Egyptian terrain, both their stunning architecture and beyond. These historic buildings are shrouded in a mystique rooted in spirituality, history, and, according to local legend, the presence of spectral guardians. The stories of ghostly guardians of the pyramids create a story that exists outside of time, fusing the ghostly echoes of the afterlife with the mysterious whispers of the ancient pharaohs, and indeed built for the pharaohs Khufu in 2560 BCE. The Great Pyramid of Giza is a marvel of ancient engineering. Theories concerning the mythical and mystical significance of the pyramids have been fostered by their ailment with celestial bodies, including the constellation Orion. There are so many to think that the existence of ethereal guardians is made possible by the cosmic link. The pharaohs who ordered the pyramids may have been paranormal techniques to guarantee their everlasting safety. According to the regional mythology and legend, there are stories of strong spells, ceremonies, or agreements with the spirits to give the buildings a spiritual guardianship. Ancient Egyptian ideas about the afterlife around the ideas of the Ka and the Ba. The Ba stood for the soul and Ka for the vital force. These components needed to be reunited in the afterlife. The notion that guardian spirits are keeping an eye on the pyramids is consistent with the old concept that soul travels after death. According to certain myths, the ghostly guardians are heavenly beings sent to guard the pharaohs. Within their resting places and beyond, these guardians, who are either imagined as kind spirits or as sentinels appointed by the gods, are supposed to keep out intruders and maintain the sacredness of the pyramids. People who live close to the pyramids report seeing spectral operations that resembled soldiers from ancient Egypt. It is thought that these ghostly defenders keep watch over the region, making sure the pyramids are safe from harm. After Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered in 1922, the idea that the pharaoh's grave violations were cursed by popular. Many people think that defiling a pharaoh's tomb would cause a curse to be released, which would harm or even kill the perpetrators. This belief is further entwined with the idea of ghostly guardians. Visitors, archaeologists, and locals have all reported having unsettling experiences close to the pyramids in the modern century. Unidentified occurrences, enigmatic noises, and encounters with eerie silhouettes all contribute to the persistent conviction that ghostly guardians exist. The pyramid's alignment with Earth's energy conduits, known as ley lines, is said by some paranormal enthusiasts to amplify the spiritual energies around these buildings. The idea is that the ethereal guardians who are supposed to be walking around the pyramid complex are drawn to and maintained by the confluence of psychic energies. The mysteries of the pyramids have been investigated by paranormal investigators and fans as interest in the paranormal has grown. To find possible proof of paranormal activity among these historic wonders, researchers have infrared cameras, audio recorders, infrared, and electromagnetic field EMF meters. Though explanations for alleged paranormal encounters come from science and skepticism, the ghostly guardians of the pyramids continue to play a significant role in Egyptian culture. Recognizing and honoring the ethereal qualities of these historic structures and another aspect of efforts to maintain and safeguard the pyramids. The ghostly guardians of the pyramids bridge the gap between the material and the spiritual, rising above the spheres of contemporary mystery and old myth. The stories surrounding the spiritual guardians of the pyramids persist, lending these ancient buildings even more mystery as they silently record the passage of time. The mystery of the ghostly guardian endures, provoking reflection and respect for the ethereal powers that might linger beneath the shadows of these antiquated monuments, regardless of one's perspectives of the pyramids as architectural marvels, astronomical marvels, or portraits of the afterlife. We now move into the next chapter from architecturaldigest.com for some history and facts of the pyramids of Giza. My apologies in advance for the mispronunciations of some of these pharaohs' locations, historic landmarks. It's no wonder that our fascination with the pyramids of Giza has endured for a millennia. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for the pharaoh Khufu and finished around 2560 BCE, is the only marvel of the original 7 wonders of the ancient world still intact. And the rest of the pyramid complex is nothing short of brilliant. Perched on the outskirts of Cairo, the Giza site is a necropolis of royal tombs. It contains 3 towering pyramids: the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the Pyramid of Khafre, and the Pyramid of Menkaure. 3 similar pyramids for queens and sisters, and an enormous statue of a sphinx for good measure. You'd think that a few thousand years on Earth would have revealed all the pyramids' mysteries, but it seems that there are still plenty of secrets to share. In 2023, a hidden corridor was discovered in the Great Pyramid, and in 2024, a mysterious structure that was found adjacent to it. While we're still learning more about this ancient monument, here's what we do know about the Great Pyramid of Giza. And what an exciting time that we are still finding the mysteries of these ancient artifacts and sites and burials. The Great Pyramid of Giza dates to Egypt's Old Kingdom, more than 4,000 years ago. The Great Pyramid was built by King Khufu, son of King Snefru and Queen Hephaestus I, and the 4th dynasty's second pharaoh, says Ryan McKern, expert Egyptologist, and McCrombie and Kent's director of private jet and special interest travel, and ruled Egypt between 2585 BC and 2560 BC. And during that time, he led the construction of the Great Pyramid. It's estimated that it took around 20 years to build the Great Pyramid. Khonsumheb and the Ghost. Khonsumheb and the Ghost, often known simply as the Ghost Story, is an ancient Egyptian ghost story dating back to Ramesses period. Its protagonist is a priest named Khonsumheb, also rendered as Khonsumheb, in both meaning of Khonsu, as in jubilation, and the story revolves around the encounter with a restless ghost. The beginning of the story is lost. It's implied that an unarmed man had to spend the night next to the tomb in the Theban necropolis, only to be awakened by a ghost residing in it. Thus the man went to the high priest of Amun, Khonsu, and told him about his adventure. The text begins with Khonsu calling the gods from his rooftop in order to summon the ghost. When the ghost comes, Khonsu asks his name, and the ghost claims to be Nubusumi, son of Achamun and of the lady Tamsha. Khonsumheb offers to rebuild a new tomb and provide a gilded syphilis wood coffin for the ghost in order to make his peaceful, but the ghost is unpersuaded of the high priest's intentions. Khumsab, sitting next to the ghost, cries and wishes to share his unfortunate fate, but depriving himself of food, water, air, and daylight. The Nemesmek tells of his past life when he was an overseer of the treasuries and military official under Pharaoh Rahotep. When he died in the summer of the regional year 14 of Pharaoh Menhotep, the ruler provided him with a canopic set, an alabaster sarcophagus, and 10 Kubashaf tomb. Over the centuries, the tomb partially collapsed, thus allowing the wind to reach the burial chamber. He also revealed that before Khumsab, others offered to rebuild the grave without actually honoring the promise. Khumsab says that the ghost that he will comply with any of his requests and offers to send 10 of his servants to make daily offerings at his grave, but the ghost laments that the latter idea is of no use. At this point the text breaks and the text fragments report the efforts of 3 men sent by Khumsab in search of a suitable place to build a new tomb for the ghost. They eventually find the ideal place at Deir el-Bahari, near the causeway of the mortuary temple of Pharaoh Menhotep II. The men return to Karnak. The Khumsab is officiating and reporting to him about the place they found. Then the joyful Khumsab informs the deputy of the estate of Umun, Minkau, about his plan. The text subtly ends there, but it is likely that Khumsab succeeded in his plan of pacifying the ghost. This story is written between the 19th and 20th dynasty. It's fragmented due to the fact that it has been reconstructed from different ostraka, which are now in Turin, Museo Insigio, Vienna, Kunsthistorisches Museum, Paris, Louvre, and 2 in Florence, the National Archaeological Museum. The Turin fragment was the last to be discovered in 1905 at Deir el-Medina by Ernesto Shirapelli. This Gaston Maspero in 1882 gave a different reconstruction of the tale. The reading order of Ostaka has been established as follows: Turin since the beginning, Vienna since Khumsab's first step proposal, Florence 1 and 2 since Khumsab wished to share the ghost's fate, Louvre, the final after the break concerning the search for the new burial place. The tale contains various obscure points which were and still are open to different interpretations. One of these concerns the identity of the 2 pharaohs claimed to be contemporary, Nebusmik. The first one is apparently Rahotep, an early king of the 17th dynasty, while the second one, Menhotep, is a problematic figure, since no Theban ruler bearing this name and living near the time of Rahotep is believed to having reigned for up to 14 years. Jogan von Beckmuth believed that both the royal names actually refer to Rahotep, while William Kelly Simpson suggested that the original author intended to refer to the Mahotep II of the dynasty of 11, who is mentioned also later in the story. Simpson argues that the author was rather ignorant in Egyptian history, since Mentuhotep II ruled some 5 centuries before Rahotep. In ancient Egypt, ghosts, they were somewhat similar to the former self, and interactions between ghosts and living people were seen in a lesser supernatural way than in a modern depiction. It continues to fascinate scientific minds and those curious of history, art, culture, and broad, in what will only be expected to grow in curiosity and discovery in the coming years and millennia. The most enduring Egyptian view of death was that it was a paradise, a continuation of life on earth, but lacking any disappointment, any loss or distress. For most of Egyptian history, the view was, you keep it forever, as one would find all the lost death and paradise of the field of reeds on the other side. This vision of the afterlife altered in different eras, sometimes being more widely accepted and sometimes less, but remained fairly constant. Along with this view went on the understanding of disembodied spirits, ghosts, which were more the view of the afterlife. It remained unchanged from the earliest evidence through the end of ancient Egyptian history. Ghosts were as much of reality as any other aspect of existence. Egyptologist Rosalie David then writes, "It was believed that society consisted of 4 groups: gods, the king, the blessed dead, and humanity, who shared certain moral obligations and a duty to interact and maintain with the world order. The existence of this order and the assumption that it was constantly under threat was a basic premise of Egyptian belief." Thank you again so much for joining me in the Wicked Webs We Weave podcast. Once again, I am your host, Ryan McKern, and thank you for listening and subscribing. Please reach out and let me know what you would like me to cover in a future episode of the Wicked Webs We Weave. And much like an unearthed, undiscovered part of a tomb in the Valley of the Kings, until we meet again, au revoir.